What is up, bros? It's me, Josh, here. In today's video, we're going over the currently work in progress, the updated La Terrible, the Tier 8 Premium French Destroyer. And this one's still trying to kind of find its identity and what it's supposed to be. This one is labeled the Elefante, or however you want to pronounce it. I'm not the pronunciation king. But this one got a bit of a buff in this version we're actually checking out. And I assume they'll probably fix it to this. So if you own this ship yourself, you're going to get a nice little buff. It got a buff to its trajectory of its shell as well as its alpha damage, which is nice. But still the ship, and this is going to be a pretty quick video, still the ship itself is kind of okay. It's still all right. It doesn't really have, it's a fun ship, I guess. It's kind of a trolley ship, and actually, if you want to, it's a ship that can actually quite hunt CVs very well because it's so fast into the 50 knots. If you're running speed boost as well as flags, it's extremely fast. So if you are trying to hunt CVs, this is the ship for you. But overall, the ship still, the way it is it's still kind of an awkward ship trying to make things happen when other ships do what it does better. So the thing about the ship though is it is quite fun. It has the reload boosters still. It's basically the same ship compared to what it could. And even we're bottom tier, but this is one of those that doesn't really matter what tier you're going against. You're going to be playing it almost like a Russian gunboat destroyer. You're going to be using it as range. You don't have smoke, so you open water firing all the time, and then using your reload consumable, which is just awesome, to then basically just stomp on enemy DDs, farm battleships, and it's just a farming DD in general. So as you see right here, we're popping the reload consumable, and it's just the best. I love that this is a thing. I would like to see maybe an entire line like this, but still, I think for the premium ship itself, not having a smoke, not having a heal, it's still kind of interesting. So the ship itself isn't really the strongest, but it is still relatively fun. I like that it's unique. But one of the main things I did notice in this game, and just all the games when I was kind of testing the new version, is I'm glad that the guns are hitting relatively hard, or harder it seems, but you just have such a little impact on the game. Basically, whenever you load in, your team is kind of down a destroyer, basically the entirety of the game. You're basically down a DD, and there's not much your team can really do with it because your detection is going to be pretty high for the tier, as well as if you get bottom tiered, you can do that. So it's not like I could have gone in against the Benson. He's going to out-tech me by almost an entire kilometer. So what you're going to be doing is you're a great support ship. This is a good division ship still. It was also, you could have tested it out for a bit. So if you get this through a container or something like that, I do find it to be relatively fun. I don't take it out that often, but it is kind of cool to see that they want to show this ship some love and try to find an identity. It just seems very tough to me to really kind of find a spot when there's other ships that do kind of what this ship does a tad better compared to like the Kiev at tier 8. There's also even tier 7 ships that kind of do it better too. But it is kind of fun to just see a ship that's just so freaking fast. And trust me, I have been hunt down by these. So if you are trying to be that troll CV hunting DD, this is the one for you. Kind of like the Asashio, we kind of see these inner troll ships. But what you can do is you can just be so punishing to destroyers that you get kind of there, and then you can just kind of start farming as well. But one of the things is it's very tough for you as a DD, and that's one of the downsides about this, is being a destroyer in a kind of a not destroyer. You're not really gonna be playing a DD role. I mean, luckily this Yu Yang was out kind of on the side, so he wasn't really being a DD role either. But this one's just gonna be an open water gunboat, so you're not a primary DD. You're kind of a supporting role. Obviously, I can push in now, kind of once we killed off a couple DDs. But if it's a 1 DD game, there are plenty of games right now that are 1 DD versus 1 DD. Obviously, this will do more. This will do better the more DDs there are in a game, because you don't want to be the spotting one. You're going to have the same problems that the Russian destroyers will have. Luckily, you are a tad stealthier than that, but still, you're going to get out-detected by basically everything but the Kiev at this tier, destroyer-wise. And so, going in, being aggressive on a cap will probably just kind of kill you off it's not really your strong suit. There's not really much you should really do, but you will be getting some damage in and getting some spots in and getting some flanks in. That's one thing that's fantastic about both this and kind of the French identity. The battleships are great on the flanks. The cruisers are great on the flanks. They're very punishing when things make mistakes. And again, that's what this is. So will we see an entire line like this? I think it's unique enough that it could definitely have a playstyle. I would love to see maybe this one be a bit tankier, bigger, bustier, and having maybe the line have some smoke or have a heal, something like that. I feel like it would be kind of weird to have an entire line kind of just what this is. So obviously, since this is, and again, this is still the terrible, it's just under a different name and still work in progress. But I imagine that this ship will actually get buffed to what we see right here. The thing is, it's still kind of what it is. It's just a tad better. So there's nothing wrong with that. But what you can do is if you are in a good spot early, a good situation early, you can then kind of capitalize on that and start farming ships in other situations. But downside, again, to what we've already seen in the past, this ship is not a primary destroyer still, and it's going to be tough to have a big impact on the game with this ship, outside of comparing it to, let's say, the Benson, the Loyang, the Lightning, the Cossack, stuff like that. Those are all going to be ships that have a much bigger impact on the game just by being the destroyer role. This one, however, is going to be, and I'm really surprised this guy, I think he beached or something, but I'm surprised we didn't hit the torps on this. But as the DD itself, this thing is still pretty weak for just that. But if you want something that's extremely fast, extremely unique, and has the ability to farm a bunch of damage, and at the same time being extremely fun to play, here you go. But just know that with this ship, and as you see right here, this is the reload. The upside of it is what just happened with that Yamato. We got back-to-back fires, and you're going to be using your speed, your agility, and as you see, she just prepared the double fire. So we're going to pump that reload booster and then pray to RNG that we get a fire, and I don't think we do. But it's hard not to smile when you're shooting this fast with the DD. It's really hard not to smile when you're doing this, especially with the destroyer. If you do find a DD, my God, you just obliterate it. The amount of alpha damage you can actually do in a short amount of time is just absolutely nutty. But also, once you get into the open water, you're so fast, it's so hard to hit. So even going against like a Wooster, you're not really scared because their shells are relatively lofty, and you're not extremely like worried. The HE on this is pretty solid though, as well as the AP. We end up just sticking with HE the majority of this game, but even as you see against the Wooster, 2500 salvo, and but overall, the ship itself, I just wanted to make a quick little video on this because hey, we are seeing it. We're seeing this as an updated version, so I thought I'd keep you guys up to date with this, especially if you own this ship. You know, you're going to get a nice little buff to it, and if you're thinking about buying it, it's a little bit better than what it was. In the end, it's still going to have its weaknesses as a destroyer itself, having a lack of ability to really contest caps, and well, at least early game. But if you do enjoy that kind of flanky damage farming, let's say you like let's say you like even the French cruisers or French battleships, this is going to be a very fun ship for you. And if you like playing Russian destroyers, this is also going to be a pretty fun ship for you. Now, it does have a tier 8 price tag, and again, this isn't finalized, but and I'll probably end up doing an is it worth it video once we get the finalized version. I just assume it will. There's no reason for them not to give it some kind of buffs, because what it is right now is it's relatively weak and there's not much point of really having it. So it's good to see them again doing this feedback. We've also had some pretty good times when I was playing it in a different game where we're getting a ton of citadels and stuff like that on it. So that was actually pretty nice too. And but overall, it's good to see them giving this ship some love and then trying to find a spot. I would love to see a French DD line. I like fast, and that's what exactly this ship brings. So overall, a still fun ship, not the strongest ship by any means, but still a very fun ship. And this game, we were bottom tier, but we got a ton of defense, and you're going to be able to get that, being able to flex back and forth to other caps. and into situations like that. And the Yu Yang is pushing in here. I thought I was going to 200 IQ him. We got a little unlucky. He ended up bailing. But I thought I was going to try to 200 IQ because I figured he's still in cap. I didn't think he'd be so far north. But since we have the speed, that's kind of the best part about it, is the speed is just absolutely nutty. But he ends up taking off, nothing we can really do. And the best part is if I had radio location, there's no way any other DD is going to be able to get away from this. And if you have that reload consumable, there's nothing that's really going to have the alpha damage. I mean, outside of, like, you know, maybe a couple destroyers, but at tier 8 especially, there's nothing you can really do. And we got so unlucky here. So unlucky. If our torps would have been like 10 kilometers, they actually probably would have hit. But pretty unlucky here. And he ends up getting away for now. But still. We got a little unlucky that the Neptune is right there. And I think if I would have shot AP, we might have been able to do it. It's a bit of ouchie, man. Leave me alone. I'm trying to show off this ship. But the best part about the ship is you can have a impact very quickly, and it's that burst damage that we know and love when it comes to French ships. The battleships, at least the premium ones, the Jean Bart, as well as the Bourgogne, the tier 9 and tier 10, they have that burst consumable, which is fantastic. And then, of course, the consumable is on the cruiser line as well. So that, again, is another very fun part. I just really enjoy it. I like having that burst ability and being able to really make a play when it comes to that, and having the ship do that. So you have some pluses, you have some minuses when it comes to this, and something that could maybe make a big impact. But a pretty quick game there, and just want to kind of show it off. Wasn't trying to get an incredible game because it still kind of shows what the ship can do, getting into positions and then pumping out a bunch of damage extremely fast and then rotating over. As you saw, we did pretty decent for that quick of a game in a bottom tier destroyer, and we end up even top tier. So doing our rolls, farming damage, getting damage on TDs, and then getting to caps very quickly, being able to flex back and forth using our speed in that ship. Again, this is still work in progress, so stats are subject to change, although I don't think much will before it eventually goes live or just gets updated. But I will keep you guys up to date on any new changes that happens with the tier 8 Terrible. So anyways, guys, that's it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember to like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.